Hello.
Hello, yes, hello. Hello, museum families, and welcome to RBCM at Home Kids, a play date through screens across British Columbia and the world. The previous session, we actually were just talking about this. The previous sessions are recorded and you can find them on our Royal BC Museum YouTube page, which I just looked and we're sort of figuring out how many sessions we've done. So this is now episode 26. We've done 26 different RBCM at Home Kids sessions. So my name is Chris O'Connor and I'm a learning program developer at the Royal BC Museum. The museum and my home is on the territory of the Lekwungen speaking people, the Songhees and Esquimalt nations, here in Victoria on Vancouver Island. I am an uninvited guest on this territory and grateful to live, learn, and raise a family on this land. So school has begun, kind of. All over the world this year, school has been looking a little bit different. That might include masks. It might mean some in-class learning and some home learning. It might mean a lot more time on Zoom. But at the heart of it all is learning, engaging curiosity, leaning into the desire to grow, to develop skills, to cultivate our resilience, to better understand the world and our place in the world. So today we celebrate learning and the beginning of the learning year from a stellar family of learners. But first I want to go back to last week where we were joined by Dr. Ken Marr. So I'm going to just share my screen like I usually do. So RBCM at Home Kids, episode 26. Yay. Last week we did a program called Learning from Leaves, and we were looking at cataloging how we take the diversity of leaves or understand the diversity of leaves that are in our neighborhood and start to make sense of them by shape and feel and texture and fuzziness. And so this is a picture that one of the participants did and sent in, which I think is quite lovely. And she also, we didn't talk about measuring the leaves, but she measured the leaves in terms of length too. So we'll be doing a project today where you'll just need paper and a pencil. We'd love to see it. I know Skye, Rupert, and Franny would love to see it as well. So share it with us. Whether you're a kid or an adult, we like kids of all ages, 0 to 99 or 120. You could share it with me at coconnor@royalbcmuseum.bc.ca through our social channels, Royal BC Museum, or hashtag RBCM Kids. Keep exploring. After all the time, 24 hours a day, if you can't sleep in the middle of the night, like come visit the Learning Portal. So you can just Google Learning Portal and Royal BC Museum, lots of really interesting information. And then next week, dinosaurs are back. So Dr. Victoria Arbor, my wonderful colleague, is back and looking at armored dinosaurs. We're going to be making armored dinosaurs. So this week we have a museum family, and I said that I would share the first photo that when they did a program with me when I was first starting at the museum. So here's the photo of Rupert and Franny. In our freight elevator. So, which I just think is so lovely.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
rocking those sneakers.
So we'll meet them in a second, but just to give you a little bit more of what we, just so you're prepared. So in this format, this is a webinar, so you could see me and you could see our special guests. Though we can't see you, we could hear from you if you use the Q&A box if you're or the chat on Zoom or the comment section on Facebook Live. And my colleague Kim will be looking at the Facebook Live comment section. So whatever you put there, she'll send over to us here on Zoom. As I said, we'll be doing an activity today, so you'll just need paper and something to draw with. But even if you don't have that, don't worry about it. We record this, you could always come back and do that activity later. You could just do things at your own pace and in the way that feels good to you. All right, so let's meet our special guests. Today we're joined by a very special museum family. Skye, Franny, and Rupert have been a museum family for many years. I first met them close to 7 years ago when I ran a program at the museum called 32 Views. It was 32 weeks of meeting different staff and exploring different areas of the museum. Skye, Franny, and Rupert were regulars, which led me to, because they were home learners, inspired me to start a home learners workshop series here at the museum, which they took part in. And eventually they even helped to create exhibits with us. A few years ago, our families exhibition, and then this upcoming summer, our orcas exhibition. So beyond the museum, Franny and Rupert are youth advocates for environmental rights and have been inspiring action from youth and adults from around Victoria, around BC, and around the world. And Skye is supporting and cultivating this work while also inspiring people around her into action. So without further ado, welcome Skye, Franny, and Rupert. I'm so glad that you're here.
Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Thanks so much for the warm welcome.
And the beautiful introduction. It's been an absolute honor for us to be a part of the museum family over the years. I've always loved museums since I was a little girl. And it's been fantastic having Rupert and Franny love museums as much as I do. And we've been so warmly welcomed by the Royal BC Museum, and we just feel so grateful that you're an active part of not only our greater community, but a part of our family. So thank you so much for inviting us today.
And it's not just a museum. The way that you model the kind of learning that you do through home learning is really connecting deeply with community throughout the city and beyond. Do you want to speak a little bit about that, with the role of community and how you do what you do?
Yeah, we've been really lucky. We began home learning when Rupert was around grade 3, and we've continued over the years. He's now in grade 11, Franny's now in grade 8. Part of the reason why we've been able to continue to do it so successfully is because of the contributions and the support that we've had from the people in the community. We've and the greater Victoria home learning community as well has been so lucky to have people actively wanting to engage with our learners, wanting to support our learners, wanting to educate our learners. And so a lot of people think that home learning is a lot of kind of sitting around. Well, right now it is, but often it's really active, and it's a really kind of playful and engaged participation with local businesses. Like, for example, Rupert and Franny have done drawing with Legends Comics, or Franny's done fiber arts with Naughty by Nature. We've done with activities through the community centers with yoga and, gym. Rupert's taken like political science at a community center. We've taken art at the art gallery. The kids have taken classes in engineering and science up at the university. And we've done a myriad of classes and workshops and activities at the Royal BC Museum. We've, whenever we have a need or an interest, we kind of put it out there, and there's always been an individual, an organization, a business, a community-oriented organization that has wanted to kind of step up and craft something with us to create a unique, dynamic, hands-on, experiential learning experience for the local learners. And Rupert and Franny have been have benefited from that generosity, and our family has felt so grateful for all that people so selflessly offer. And thank you to the museum again for how much you've contributed to not just our family, but for the greater Victoria home learning community over the many, many years that you've been giving so much.
And I think that there's, in particular, there's been a lot of learning that's come out of this pandemic period, but especially in the spring when schools, in-class schools closed, a lot of parents finally realized just the amount of work and care and consideration it takes to support a child and learning. So I think I'm hopeful about that there's this greater awareness of just how much work educators do from a real heart-centered place to support learning. And that's for the home learner community, like that's what you live day in and day out. So I think a lot of those parents can really learn from the work that you've done, Skye, in particular, but others around the city and the province. So that's one of the reasons why I wanted to invite you all on, and both as a support, Skye, but also just seeing the growth, Franny and Rupert, in your learning and your like action-oriented learning style is really inspiring. So I'd like to use this time just to give you an opportunity to speak about what your process is like and how you go about crafting a year of learning.
Sure, that would be great. And Rupert and Franny, just chime in when you feel like you want to contribute.
Will do.
But very often, well, we follow the ministry prescribed learning outcomes that are required for each grade. And so we kind of look at our learning year like little bubbles. And so that's a big bubble that we need to take into consideration. We look at the things that Rupert and Franny are interested in, their passions, things that they're curious about. We also.
So what might that be for you, Rupert and Franny, for this year? Sorry to jump in.
Well, yeah. Of course, environmental advocacy. We're very interested in that, but also we're interested in many other social things, many like government. Many things that have to do with like a society and government and just the way that our world can move forward in a better, healthier way.
For me, some of the things that I'm curious about this year and am wanting to explore is photography. I've always been very interested in photography, and so I'm going to dive into that in the next couple months. And this year also, I've been doing lots of reading and writing and drawing, and so I'm curious about sort of where I can go with my drawing and how I can improve and grow in that.
Great, thank you.
Sorry
to interrupt.
Yeah, no, not at all. The third kind of big bubble piece is areas that we want to grow in. And that's as individuals and as learners, and also as a family and as community members. And so not only do we kind of follow the things that the Ministry of Education thinks that and are important for them developmentally and academically, but also things that they're really excited about, and also things that we want to kind of nurture a little bit, give a little extra time to, give a little extra support to. And so we often, in the summer, we have very loose conversations about what the upcoming year is going to look like. I do a lot of homework about things that are kind of expected of us. And then we figure out ways that we can kind of explore and learn the things that are appropriate, but also focus on building skills around those things as well. And then one of the main reason why we are a home learning family is the flexibility. We like a lot of flexibility. And so one of the privileges that we have is adapting to our plan. So we craft a very thorough learning plan. We share it with our distance learning agency. And then we proceed. And we make schedules, and we set goals. And we are in constant communication about where we are at and how we are doing and where we are learning and what resources we need and what people we can bring in for support and what other resources we might need. And so we really work as a tight learning team, three of us, and our husband and my husband Shane, and that's kind of how we get started. And then we just move forward day by day, week by week, term by term, year by year. And we put a lot of effort into recording evidence of learning. And so that's another kind of piece of our puzzle, that we take photographs, we do writing, we do presentations, displays, and then we package those all up into kind of a learning portfolio that showcases Rupert and Franny's learning and growth over the year.
At the end of the year, or do you do that throughout the year?
We have a kind of seasonal reflection times.
Uh-huh.
And then we also have term and annual reflection times, and just to make sure that we've kind of covered everything that we wanted to cover. But we always leave a little space in our plan for things that come up, because sometimes there's something new and exciting that crops up, and then we need to make time for that. So
Speaking of which, there's a comment from John Little on Facebook who asks, what about cooking and guitar playing?
I think
Yes,
John knows us well.
Yes, yes, I enjoy playing guitar and many types of music. And also, you know, we all enjoy cooking, and just it's a big part of our family.
Yeah. Rupert has been writing, recording, and releasing a bunch of his original music over the last couple of months. And so music production, music engineering, and marketing and distribution are parts of his learning plan this year. And
do
Franny,
you want to show your shirt, Rupert?
Oh yes, I got this shirt when we saw the band The Strokes live on the very last day before everything was shut down.
Was that in Seattle?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, before we knew that, before people even thought that things were going to get shut down.
Yeah.
you're lucky.
Uh-huh.
And cooking is a big piece, because not only do we love cooking and love food culture, but we also can find a lot of lessons in cooking. So right now, Franny's working on fractions, and so there's no better way to work on mathematics than doubling a cooking recipe. But yeah, we have a lot of fun with cooking, and this year, because of the kind of COVID time and the increased time at home, we built and expanded our garden, and we grew a bunch of stuff that we've never grown before, and so we've had a lot of fun playing with that. And also Franny's become an expert sourdough maker, and that is because of your lovely family for offering us a sourdough starter, Chris. So thank you so much. That's such a beautiful gift.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks, John.
And Franny, your shirt, do you want to show your shirt too?
Black Lives Matter.
Oh.
I'm wearing it because I want to show support for our Black friends and family, and for all the wonderful people in our community.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. I was wondering, when you were talking about your process, whether is there a moment in the day as a family that you say, okay, now we're not engaging that way, or is learning just sort of embedded into your life 24 hours, or do you feel like is it important to create a kind of schedule and routine to be able to focus in specific ways?
We have a very very detailed schedule. I mean, we have a calendar over in this direction, a calendar in the desk. Each of us has a calendar in various rooms. We have calendars everywhere, and it's just generally we try to sort of wrap things up by 4, but often Mom keeps going for like 24 hours a day. But yeah, we generally try to end by 4 and take the weekends off.
Yeah.
But generally, throughout the week and through our lives, because we're all very curious people and lots of our learning is passion-led, it sort of flows through the boundaries of days and weeks. So we're sort of constantly learning in a way, but
we end our structured learning.
Yeah.
Try to end it at certain times.
We really qualify the difference between our structured learning time and our unstructured learning time. And our unstructured learning time is kind of like life. But we do schedule unstructured learning time every single week, so that there is time for us to do what we want to do.
So maybe for example, with Franny, with your photography, that during that structured time might be like learning about specific techniques around photography, and then during the weekend, if you're out hiking, maybe you take photos. It's not like you don't engage. It's just a different kind of way of engagement.
exactly.
And then, so we talked about the different virtues or the values that you that guide your learning.
Yeah.
I don't know if you want to mention the backpack
Yeah,
idea now. We have about 10 minutes, so
10 minutes until it's all wrapped up.
yeah.
Okay, so we use the language of virtues. It's one of the kind of foundational or kind of pillars of how our family functions. It's a really big part of our culture, of our family. And virtues are things like patience and flexibility and friendliness and respect and what else?
Compassion.
Compassion, humor.
Flexibility.
Yeah. So because we don't have a faith background, we're not a religious family, we felt that having a focus on virtues, using the language of virtues, having virtues kind of be a big part of the woven fabric of our family, that it would really help us be our best selves. It would allow us to be our best selves for each other. It would be the best way that we can support one another. And it also helps us be our best learners because virtues like purposefulness, determination are really helpful when you need to persevere, when things are maybe more challenging or more laborious. And so we thought today, because this learning year, this school year is kind of starting off different than any other school year that we've ever had, we might want to think about what unconventional or unexpected school supplies or learning supplies we might need to have a successful, at least beginning of the learning year. And I know that there's always like pencils and papers and binders and textbooks and all of those things that are required, and those things are still required, but because things are so different, we might need to bring in some other things to, you know, not just succeed, but to do so with some joy and together as, you know, a team. And so we've kind of thought of some things this year that we kind of need to work on, you know, that flexibility and patience, compassion, communication, so that we can really stay on the same page with one another and support one another, not just with learning, but just as we're kind of navigating this still kind of strange time. And so we thought it might be fun for the people who are participating, who are watching either now or later, if they wanted to draw a backpack, an empty backpack. It can just be a quick sketch, or it can be a book bag if you want. You can use your imagination, and then maybe take a couple of minutes to think about what things that are kind of different that you might want to bring with you on your learning journey this year, on your school year this year, that might help you have, I don't know, a little bit more of a enjoyable, more comfortable time when things are still so kind of different. So I would encourage everybody, if they can, grab a pen, pencil, piece of paper, draw a quick backpack. And then while you're doing so, maybe think of some of the things that you might want to add to it this year that are different than other years. This could also be a great exercise for parents or guardians or teachers, people who are supporting learners, because what we can contribute to them might be above and beyond like a cut and dry school supply list. It might be like, how can we support young people in being understanding and patient, to maybe have a sense of humor around things, especially around times of challenge or when they're facing a big learning curve. Compassion for other people who might be having different experiences or reacting in different ways to different things, like as simple as, you know, wearing a mask, or doing things differently at school, and even as home learners, you know, our lives are really different this year because we do a lot out in the community, but we're not doing that anymore. And so almost all of our learning is online, which is different. And we feel like we're kind of missing out and things are a bit strange. And so we are really needing to be thoughtful about how we start this year. So Chris, do you have anything that you can think of that you might put in your own kind of personal or family backpack to support and encourage learners and students in your life and in your family?
Yeah, I keep coming back to the patience one, as an educator, but also as a because I'm, as an educator, I'm not able to do a lot of the programming that I would do, but maybe even more so as a parent of a kid, and realizing that like this will pass. So having patience that this is a moment in time, and there's important learning that's happening, even if it's not what we expected, and to have patience and compassion just to allow that to be.
Mhm.
So
And
think about that.
perspective too, like you say, like understanding that we're right in the middle of it now, and down the road we're going to look back on this time. And so it's kind of good to be reminded that we're kind of in the middle of it now, but it's going to keep changing, and we're going to keep moving along. And so having that kind of longer view sometimes helps get through these kind of more challenging days right now.
Mm-hmm. So just as people are making their backpacks and they're thinking about words, Skye, can you, oh, that's a very lovely backpack.
Yeah. Here's Rupert's.
I'm not done.
Oh, great.
Mine's not done.
Nice. So Skye, can you just, or Franny or Rupert, can you list a few of those virtues just so as some might resonate with other people in different ways? So.
Well, some that might be very good for this time are cooperation.
Say that again.
Cooperation. I'll leave
Mhm.
it. Positivity and understanding. I think that's a really important one right now. Compassion, because well, that's just another very important one right now. Flexibility. I think that's pretty self-explanatory as to why that's important. But also patience. We all need to have patience with what is going on in the world right now.
Mm-hmm.
I think humor is probably very important right now, because in times where though everything is so up in the air and nothing is set or firm, it's very hard to figure out sort of what's going on when. Just having a sense of humor to see like the lighthearted or playful side of things, I think that would be very helpful for getting everyone through this time.
I pre-did one because I'm really good at doing one thing at a time instead of many things at a time. So I thought I would pre-do one while I was waiting for this to get started. And so on mine, I have playfulness, like Franny was just alluding to. We try to make fun when we can.
Yeah.
So we try to like create occasions. Like all of a sudden today is going to be a fiesta day, or like a birthday party for Franny's rabbit, or we're going to do a New Year's party. And so playfulness and fun is really important. Hopefulness has been really helpful for me. Just to kind of, again, it kind of goes along with perspective, just kind of knowing that things are going to keep moving and believing that things are going to keep getting maybe better and easier. Compassion we've talked about already. Flexibility and patience we've already talked about already. One of the big ones for our family, and it's how we conduct ourselves in our family and how we try to connect with everybody in our community, is to really express our gratitude and appreciation. And so I think that looking for ways to be grateful, really relishing that feeling of gratitude and expressing that is really important right now. And I think it's going to really help people kind of have positive energy as they're moving forward, and to keep being generous with each other. And then the last thing I put in mine is my favorite tea and my favorite to-go cup and other cozy things. Because when things are kind of different, I like familiar. And so having a couple of those nice things kind of helps the day kind of go by.
What a nice full backpack you have.
My backpack's always full.
Yeah, it's above the ministry prescribed weight for a backpack.
Yeah.
Right. But your mom is strong enough to carry
Strong
it.
shoulders.
Franny, do you want to share what you have in your backpack?
Yeah.
Or Rupert?
I have kindness, because
Yeah.
kindness doesn't cost anything. Positivity and patience, a mess, because I don't know, but I hear that those might be kind of useful at this point in time.
Uh-huh.
Some hand sanitizer, again, very useful. Water, it's good to stay hydrated. And also some snacks, because, gotta stay snacked up.
It's hard to be hungry and also like open to learning. So
Absolutely.
Oh gosh, yes. Franny, you want to share what you have so far? Okay. Franny's, she's scrambling to fill her backpack.
it's nice to see that there's some similarities in your backpacks, but also some specific ones that speak to your own journeys too. So
We find that we have a lot in common as a family, and that really helps us, especially because we spend a lot of time together, not just family time, but learning time. But we're also quite unique, and so we make a point of making sure that we recognize the differences between us, celebrate those differences, and also make room for them in our lives and in our approach. And so sometimes it takes a little bit longer to figure things out, but usually in the end, by recognizing what we have in common and what we have that's different, we come to the best possible solution or plan or approach. And that's huge in how we govern our everyday, not just family-wise, but big in our learning. Right?
I've finished mine, but it's a work in progress. The next while, we're going to have to reassess and figure out what's needed. So positivity, because it's sort of a backpack fundamental. It's always good to have positivity. Perspective. I tend to go down mental and emotional rabbit holes, and from inside the rabbit holes, it's very hard to get a clear view of what's going on, and I need perspective. It's something I need to work on growing. Compassion is very important right now because everyone has their own struggles right now, and it's very helpful to be able to see that everyone has their own stuff going on, but we're all united through this crazy global time. Flexibility, like Mom and Rupert were saying, for obvious reasons, we all need to be flexible because, yes, we need to be flexible. And idealism is important for me right now because right now it seems like we're just right in the middle of something and it's hard to see beyond that. So that, and yeah, that's my backpack.
Did you mention detachment too?
Oh, detachment, yes.
Whoa, Mom, you just appeared out of nowhere.
Detachment is quite important for me because I tend to attach myself onto things with thoughts and emotions, and then I can't really see it rationally. So it's good to be able to just take a step back and, again, with the perspective, just take a look at how things really are.
It seems like there's value in being in the rabbit hole and attaching, but real value in coming, like zooming out and detaching to be able to see that, like you mentioned, perspective. So yeah, beautiful. And I also I imagine that John also wrote a note saying should be able to teach folks of your age on how to lobby all levels of politicians. And I just think, like, in addition to your own learning, I also see in you the virtues that all three of you brought forward also probably feed into your advocacy work as well. So this is all interconnected. And yeah, and I love the purple, Franny, of your backpack, that positivity like exuding out through that purple. So thank you so much to the three of you, because really helping to guide, inspire and guide other learners just by modeling what it means to be like supportive of each other and to really living those virtues. And so thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thanks so much for having us. There's, just what you're doing with all these sessions, it's inspiring to us, and we're just think that what you're doing is so great.
Oh, thanks. Thanks. And we are, as a museum, we are open now. So for a limited number of people. So you just have to get a time ticket. Just, I'm saying this not to the three of you, to the world. Just a reminder that we are open. And as a reminder, just we have an Emily Carr exhibition coming up, but we will have an Orcas exhibition next summer. And again, thank you, family, for being a part of the development of some of those interactives. Again, the sort of being the museum family and also like being able to bring in your advocacy or environmental advocacy work. So yeah, so everyone feel free to come visit us either online or in the museum. And we'll see you next week for RBCM at Home Kids with Dinosaurs. And we again, we would love to see what virtues you're putting in your backpack. So share them with me, and I'll share them with Franny, Skye, and Rupert. So
And we'd see them.
yeah, for sure. All
Bye.
right.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you,
Right.
Kim. Thank you,
Thank you so
RBCM.
much.
We're
Thanks
so
everyone
grateful
who-
for you.
Thanks everyone who attended.
All right.
Yeah, thank you.
Bye.